Welcome along, guys. Well, I'm back in the garage at long last. The wait is over. The GSX-R mods are going to be coming thick and fast now. First of all, I want to get the exhaust swapped over. Currently, this bike has got the PipeWerx NCAN on their decatted headers. So it's the standard headers which have been chopped off. The cat has been chopped off of them and then welded on in their place as a link pipe and then a PipeWerx NCAN. What I've got to go on is a Brox full system in titanium. So I'm going to be taking the PipeWerx and standard headers off, weighing it all, then weighing all of the titanium parts and seeing how much, first of all, weight I've saved by doing this conversion. Then we're going to do some sound tests to see which one sounds better. It sounds bloody brilliant, this PipeWerx. I'm hoping the Brox can be at least as nice sounding. So here's a quick little look at how a little listen at how she sounds at the moment on the PipeWerx. Roll the VT. Notice how I didn't say we're going to be comparing power figures. There's a very good reason for that. There's actually snow on the ground outside, so I want to get this exhaust on. I know you're really meant to test and power test a bike back to back, so take the exhaust off, put the new one on, power on before and after. It's no good doing it on different days, but I'll take it back to the same dyno, so we'll get a good idea of how much power it makes, but that's not going to be in this video. That's going to be a bit later on when the spring kicks off, because I'm not going out on the salty roads again. Not when it's all beautiful. So that's the new exhaust, looking gorgeous, all packaged still, all the separate parts. Now I have to remove the fairings so I can get the standard headers off. Exhaust off. Pink stool shouldn't be there. I'm not going to bore you with watching me take the fairing off, so let's do it the quick way. Job done. Well, almost. Okay, giving it a quick clean and a rinse just to get some of that grime off. It's so ingrained, some of it though, but it's just to get a bit off. One thing I've noticed, these headers are very, very tight. I mean, look, there is not a lot of room to get in there to get these off. And there's a couple of things I've got to make note of. First of all, this bike was very rattly on idle, and that's because all of the exhaust valves, because the standard headers have got a load of springs and valves in it, they're all loose. They were lock wired, but the lock wires have broken, so they rattle now. So on idle, the bike was very rattly because of the exhaust valves were moving and not fixed. Because obviously, because it's got the PipeWerx system on it, all of the motor to operate those valves has been taken away. All the cables to operate those valves have gone. So now they're just loose. Take the 8 bolts out of the headers, holding the headers into the head, and then hopefully the whole thing will drop out, but it's so tight, it's going to be really tricky. It was, as I suspected, incredibly tight. What I had to do was loosen the radiator right off, and to enable me to pull it far enough forward, I had to actually pull off the coolant hose, so I've drained out a lot of coolant now. I really wanted to avoid doing that. Here it is, that's what's come off. Here's the valve, the exhaust valve I was telling you about, which is making all the rattling noises. This is where the PipeWerx connect to the standard headers, so this is all the PipeWerx decat piece. So it's fairly hefty. These headers are heavy because you've got these crossover pipes here. You know, these things are meant to be tuned for mid-range, so this opens up and it allows gases across. It's quite clever what Suzuki have done with this, and there's a Brock video where he goes into the standard exhaust and a design of it, and it's very interesting. So I will put a link to Brock's video in the description. We'll have to measure the tube thickness compared to the Brock system, because I know the Brock system is built for mid-range as well, so the actual downpipes. We'll go through the configuration of them in a minute. Again, there's a Brox video on this, but there's a bit more extra length in the downpipes to actually produce a bit more torque from the engine, because you'll see there this Predator system sits slightly lower on the bike. It actually sits out just a little bit under the belly pan because it's got some extra pipe work just to give it a bit more torque. That's the idea of these crossovers, to give it a bit more pipe length to give you the torque, and it's the same thing with the Predator system. Let's weigh this now. Let's see what this lot weighs, and then we can compare it to the Predator. Let's do it. 5.1 kilos. We may have to go lighter with the scales. Smaller scales. 1.4 kilos. 1423. Both the end cans are titanium, so it's not a huge difference in weight between them. The Brox has a steel baffle inside, so you don't have to worry about having to put the pair system in because of, you know, popping and banging. It's not going to damage the actual silencer. That's why the weights are similar, and I think it's the same with the PipeWerx. It's got a steel baffle inside, so they're both titanium, so of course they're very similar weights. No surprise there. I think it'll be the headers is where we're going to see some weight saving. Let's get them out. There it be in all its glory, all its glory hole. $731 for all the mounting hardware. Okie doke. Great thing about this kit is everything is numbered, A, B, pipe number 1. So in installation, you just basically see, because there's so many parts, you don't know what goes where. You just mate up the numbers. Instructions. Blah blah blah. So there we go, it's fitted roughly for now. It's not bolted down. You just got to basically put the whole thing together, make sure it's all tight. I've just got to put this bracket across here from that mounting point to behind that one, because that mount there is where the servo motor went before, so that's all taken away. It was gone anyway, so actually I haven't got that bolt, so I've got to find a bolt for that. But I've got to put that bracket there. I've got it mounted up there loosely, so we're just got to make sure everything, but you can see it's like stacked on top of each other, so there's more pipe work and it doesn't join to right back here, and these two literally sit on top of each other, whereas the standard system, it's just sort of 4 all go into one on the level. So there's much more pipe involved with this system here. There's much more pipe in the middle here, which changes the power characteristics and apparently gives you more torque, which will be very, very nice. But it does make it sit slightly lower, so you've got to be a little bit careful, you know, to make sure it's all tight and it's not touching the fairings and stuff when you put those back on. I've also WD-40'd it all, wiped it all down. If you don't do that, any finger marks when you start it will cause, you know, make discoloration in the metal. This should hopefully go all that lovely titanium blue once she warms up, which I can't wait to see. One thing I've noticed is the exhaust seemed to be too low and not high enough, and I had the PipeWerx mounting bracket and it's much longer than the stock footrest, so the whole pipe was not high enough. It didn't look quite right. So with the proper, unfortunately it's the passenger foot peg, so I'm going to have to try and get myself another exhaust mount. So I don't really want the passenger foot pegs on there, but there, and then that pulls it up higher. It was just too low. It was like there before, it just wasn't high enough, the angle wasn't right. Pull it up another 1.5 inches, looks much meaner. Another top tip which I discovered while doing the Supermoto exhaust the other week is to use a zip tie to get your spring clips on. How many times have you tried to put these on with pliers and it slips and then it pings off across the room, potentially getting lost, or even worse, taking your eye out? Put a zip tie around it, get it to a good length, just pull it and tuck it in. if you do let go for any reason, it doesn't ping off because tension's on it all the time. So beautiful. Last one, job done. Only thing left to do now is to put the lambda sensor in the exhaust, and that is the extension cable I mentioned, because the lambda is right back up here. So this isn't going to reach, so we need that extension. Well, there we go, guys. Exhaust all fitted, looking nice, bodywork back on. Really pleased with how it's coming, actually. It's actually not hanging down as much as I thought it was going to be, which is great news. All I have to do now is get the fuel in checked. It's always advisable to get fuel in checked when you're fitting a full system like this. Obviously, I had a decat anyway, so it was sort of halfway house. So, and with the hilltop tune, it's meant to be self-learning. So we will go back, we'll re-dyno it, we'll check the fueling. Cost of these are about 1,400 quid from Brock's website, so it's, you know, it's a fair whack of money, but it's a full titanium system, remember, and they don't come cheap. But thanks for watching. I'll get some riding videos out with this exhaust. So I'm desperate to see what this is like on the road, because with the PipeWerx it had a lovely little pop as you use the quick shifter, so I'm hoping that's still there with the Brocks. So as soon as I can, I'll get out on the roads and we'll test this thing out, and I'll bring you along with me and we can hear it in action and see how it goes. I'm hoping with that configuration of the long amount of pipe work, we should get a bit more mid-range maybe, which is always a bonus on a sports bike. Cheers, guys. This is power level 1, which is full power. Check it, man. This thing is absolutely bonkers. It's also pretty quick. Yeah, alright. Never mind getting beat up. Give me this any day of the week. Oh,